Welcome to a special episode of East Coast DNA. Andre and I have co-named this the Boomer at Nooner. We've got the friends from the Boom at Noon here behind the scenes helping us out. So thank you guys for helping us, and thank you, Andre, for being here today.
My pleasure, man.
So the last time you were here, I had a lot of audio problems, so it's probably good that I
blame
brought some
Santa
people
for
in.
that.
Yeah, it was a Christmas episode. And we've spent quite a bit of time together over the past year. So I have quite a few things that I want to share with the audience.
Right.
And first of all, your wardrobe's a little different today. You've got sleeves on, and I've been toting you out there as the sleeveless showboat.
Right.
So I know that you've got a little different motif going on this fall, and it seems to be tied in with your solo career outside of Andre Pettipas and the Giants, and a new single that you have to share with everyone.
Yeah, so I'm going with the kind of Lost Boys theme, the 80s VHS look right now. And honestly, I was just going out the door and I was like, this is probably a good shirt to put on. And then I don't remember what shirt I had underneath, so I didn't want to take it off and ruin it on camera. So I think just the protecting the image of what's underneath right now is what's going on.
And the Vampire State of Mind single that's out now, obviously not everyone has heard this yet, but for those who have, there's Lost Boys reference in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the look, for anyone that doesn't know, definitely you nailed the Kiefer Sutherland look this year. I know that there was a lot of effort through the year to change the way you look. A little bit of plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a mullet for the first time in my life. I used to make fun of them because my brother and my dad used to have them in the early 90s, and I was like, man, I'm ever not getting one. And I just see more and more people rock them. And I'm not like a person that'll hop on the trend right away. I want to stay away from it. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I still don't get the big dumb white shoes.
40,
like people wearing New
50
Balances. I get the Boomer might get it. You might be strolling in wearing those big white friggin' grass cutting shoes, but I still don't get that. But I understand the mullet now, and I wanted to do, like I said, like a new kind of look, like a fresh start for myself. I've been working so hard in this last few years with music, and I'm like, I just need a change of pace. I had the same hairdo for almost 10 years, and honestly wanted to get the hair out of my eyes. This is kind of refreshing. A little party in the back, and I can still do the business in the front, So it's kind of a rebuilding scene all around.
And so for Vampire State of Mind, you did list some references to inspirations going into it that were more on the musical end. But historically, you've always seemed to show a 90s music influence in your music. A little bit of Southern rock maybe in there 100%. Too. So I'm curious, going into creating a solo song, is there a difference in the influences that you're pulling in or in the writing style, approaching it without the full band as support?
I think it's more or less just not holding anything back and kind of just having fun with it. Doing music for so long, you kind of get put in, you're restrained a little bit, and you have to go for your sound that you're normally used to. And with my solo stuff, I'm just like, whatever. I've been doing this long enough. I just need to put this out. I need to show the fun side of myself. I obviously show that with the band, but for this one, it's like there's no time frame. There's no, have to save up X amount of dollars to release this song. It's doing it on my own terms. It's trying to find a way to feel youthful again while growing older. In being in this industry for 20-some years, some things get exhausting, and I'm like, I got to get back to when it was just fun. When you're playing in the garage with your friends or making songs for no reason. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with music. And even myself and the Giants, we're doing the same thing again. We landed in the studio last month to record a new single, Out of the Blue, which we're going to be releasing in December. But I've got a bunch of solo stuff that's going to be released as singles throughout the year. So starting with this Vampire State of Mind, and then I think I'm going to release another one in December to coincide with an upcoming tour. I figured since I'm doing a lot of solo dates, why not have the solo songs on DSPs and available to just show the different sides of Dre,
And now I do know that the band itself, as you had mentioned, has kind of followed that same, leaning a little bit back more on do it yourself.
Yeah.
Is there any other key differences that you found in operating, that you're doing it 100% on your own this time versus working through different people that maybe have suggestions on when you should release it or how it should sound or what market you should target? Like, this is one single, you don't need to worry about which is the best song from the recording session.
Exactly.
You're just releasing that song. But aside from that, as far as going into how you're going to record and how you're going to mix, I know you brought Travis in as well, so maybe speak a little bit to what the differences are between that and when you record it under control.
Right. So, like, for Deja Vu, like my solo album, it's going to be no restraints, like I said. Myself and my brother, he's probably going to help co-produce the whole album. Me and him have been playing together since he was 16 and he just turned 30. So we're kind of like George and Paul in the sense of we write better when we're together. Mm-hmm. And even on his solo stuff, it's like I'll put a little input in. And it's not a bickering thing. It's what's better for the song, you know? And that's hard to grasp in the music industry. Like, sometimes egos get in the way, but I find I've been fortunate enough to play in bands long enough that we're able to find what's best for the song. Mm-hmm. And nobody really gets butthurt, or, you know, it's like, I'm not getting put down because of this. It's, okay, why does this make sense? Let's go with this different guitar tone. Let's change the guitars. This isn't working. And having no time constraints, no money restraints. I'm just recording in my basement, most of it. If I have someone that's going to collaborate, I'll give them a call. I'll be like, pop down, or I'll go see you. Let's just have fun with it. And with Under Control, we were just trying to build off of our live album release. So it's like, we have to do something big. How do we top a live album at the El Macombo? You know, we just did 2 nights, sold out the El Macombo in 2021. And it's like, I don't know, we got nominated for ECMA for Rock Recording of the Year with the studio album before that. And Brian, our producer, is like, guys, you need to go to the Bat House. And I'm like, yeah, we do. So, like, that experience was still today, like, probably my favorite musical experience of my life. It was one of the funnest times we've had as a band, growing together and talking about stuff that, you know, you might not want to speak in the public about, or like, you know, feelings off your chest. And it was kind of a moment of like just growth as musicians and people, which helped us spread in different directions together. Yes. Growing not just the band, but everybody's musical careers as solo artists, as booking agents, as mixing engineers, you know, like hitting in on other people's projects. So as the individuals grow, the band will obviously get stronger, tighter. And I think as doing this all on our own time helps us just establish, you know, we can do this kind of thing too. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be so stressful. It doesn't have to be so money oriented. Let's just go back to the basement. Let's have some fun with it.
And with the success of the full band, you've also been able to kind of take a little of the pressure off of everybody, right, and support yourself with the solo career as well, despite not having a full album out there yet.
Yeah.
I've personally been to over 130, maybe over 140 solo performances of yours in the past 12 months. So I don't know. You must be into the 150s, 160s.
Yeah,
like getting there.
Thursday will be 149.
Yeah. So you've definitely nailed down how to do any time that anybody has available on stage.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I'm an entertainer. Like, that's what I was put here to do. Some people get a little mad. It's like, oh, I'm not doing like a completely original show. It's like, I'm getting paid tonight from singing songs and dancing and acting a fool. Like, I grew up watching slapstick comedy. I grew up watching people fight each other while bashing each other. I'm a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That whole entertainment value of everything is where I'm at. And I'm like, okay, this is the kind of image I want to be perceived as. I want the fun. I want the little over the top. So as I'm kind of coming into my own as an artist, obviously we've put in a lot of work with the band, and it's helped everybody grow. It's like, okay, this is how we should be perceived, and let's just not try and put anything over it. It's like, here's our funny, goofy self. Obviously, the music speaks for itself, but let's have some more fun with it. And once the fun starts going away, things get stressful. Doing this full time, first year was tough, man. This year is a little easier, but it's like pulling up on 150 shows and still scraping by every week, you know? And I'm making the same I'd make as I was doing sheet metal. I'm finally evened out. I did sheet metal for 13 years, and I'm just one day I was like, I can't do both. And finally at that same pace, but I want to be able to pull back a little bit on the live shows, do a little less live, but still do more content, go cool places, you know? I just want to collaborate and see new places and make more connections, see this world while sharing my music or sharing adventures, you know, sharing ideas.
And part of that whole hustle this past year and getting out there, you had the opportunity to play with a lot of different people, a few up and comers that end up being guests of the show as well, which is fortunate for myself. But one collaboration that stands out, and I'm sure you agree, but from my own point of view, having seen you perform so often, it's amazing the dynamic that the two of you have together. But you and Chaos ended up opening on a number of his East Coast dates down here. Yeah. And that's churning into a bigger thing because you ended up going out west with him as well. So maybe talk a little bit about what's happening in the Chaos camp.
Yeah, so I seen he was coming into town. It was in June last year, and I reached out to the promoter. I was like, hey, this sounds like a great fit for me. I got on the one show, and then I was like, maybe I'll play the next one if you got room in the Halifax date. And then after the first two shows, Kevin Chaos was like, dude, you got to come on the rest of the tour. He just hit it off. He's played a lot of shows over the years, and like he said to me, he's like, man, a lot of people are just there, you know, they're just trying to get that number one slot. They're trying to do this. So you came in, you knew what you were doing, you knew how to run a show, you knew how to run merch, you knew how to work with the crowd, you knew how to do it. Plus, you don't suck. I was like, thanks, dude. So anyways, we finished that first East Coast run, and he called me in August. He's like, yo, Drake, I'm doing some Western Canada dates. I need you on this tour. I'm like, oh, crap, when is it? He said, August 31st it starts. I'm like, that's Giantstock. He's like, okay, give me a minute. He's like, okay, come on right after Giantstock. So I waited, I think it was like the next day after Giantstock finished, hopped on the plane. Then we played 5 dates in Alberta. And then on that tour, we got to travel together on the tour. We had our own vehicle and, you know, just like long-time friends. It was like not skipping a beat. I didn't know him from just, honestly, 3 or 4 months. I was like, okay, I felt like I knew this guy forever. We cranked out some old 90s jams along the drive, singing our hearts out in the car. He's like, man, I haven't felt like this. You know, I haven't sang in a car like this in a long time. I think he's in the point in his career where he's experimenting more. He's working on a couple cool things that he's never done. And to see somebody that's doing what he's done and, you know, beating the pavement and trying to do it for the music, I think he's trying to help me, toss me a bone, meanwhile seeing inspiration in that. So it's kind of a two dogs working at the same time. Might be the same bone, but we'll share the bone, you know?
It's a very similar place where you're both taking advantage of the fact that you have been a little seasoned, so you can do it yourself a little differently than you could have at the beginning, because you have a different skill set and different network.
Yeah, I think that's important for any musician. Anybody listening right now, please learn how to do everything yourself. As much as, like, if you want to be full-time with music, it's not what it used to be. It's not you're just here, you're playing the songs. You might get lucky 1 in a million being just singing a song. But, like, I have to do the graphic design, I do the bookings, I do, the websites, I do, you know, show up for the shows. 9 times out of 10, we set up our own sound system. We get our own production. Like, we bring our own team in. Because a lot of these venues aren't suffice. Like, they'll say they got the stuff, and some of them don't. So you got to always be prepared. It's just better to be over-prepared for these shows than under-prepared. And I think me having to go into so many spots and being like, oh, crap, we don't have what we need, finding that out early on has helped me be able to do the DIY thing so fluently in my 30s.
And you've been able to transition that across the board into the Giants as well, as far as the DIY part. So you had a lot of big music festivals this year. you were able to do the Canada Music Week up in Toronto pretty early on back in the spring.
Yeah, that was a blast.
And then we had Somo Music Festival, the Jubilee here in Glasgow.
Giantstock was insane.
Giantstock ended the summer.
Yeah.
And then that was right before you took off to do the dates with
the Chaos Days. And then came back and did Somo.
Yeah.
So like September was insane. And then we went to the studio with Ashley MacIsaac like 2 days after Somo. I was going to go see Post Malone in Maine because I'm a huge Post Malone fan. And if nobody knows, I'm like a secret country music fan. I don't think it's not a secret anymore.
No.
But it's like, I was a rock and roll guy growing up. And I was like, I was one of those snobby rock kids because I didn't know anything else. I'm like, even emo wasn't on my radar back in the day. I was like, okay, 90s pop rock or like Led Zeppelin. And then finally I was like, oh crap, this 90s country is insane. I remember my uncle always listened to it, and I'm always secretly like, okay, these hooks are insane, and loved the guitar tones. But it's just kind of like my love with Creed. I couldn't admit it, and I blame wrestling for that too. And now where I'm at is there's no guilty pleasures. It's just like, here I am. I'll play Creed. I'll play Hinder. I don't care. I still won't play Wagon Wheel, but like.
But a Country Pride album is right up your alley now.
Country Pride is so good. Me and Ashley have been friends for probably like 11, 12 years, maybe longer. He actually seen me when I was 18 years old playing at a bar in Port Hawkesbury and came up to me after the show and was like, man, you're an incredible entertainer. You're going to go far with this music thing. And then I think it was like 3 or 4 years later, he was in Halifax and gave me a call. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, yeah, I'm just in Halifax. Let's chat. So he's chatting ideas about collaborating in the future. And he actually brought up Talking in Your Sleep, that Romantics tune, Then. And he's like, I want to produce a song for you. Anyways, we ended up working on Long Way From Home before we even got into doing that romantic song. He hit me up again during the pandemic. It's like, let's do Talking in Your Sleep. And I don't think we spent enough time promoting that song, but had an absolute blast. That was where the love of home recording started for us.
That's something that during COVID we had a lot of time to kind of dig deep into stuff. Man. So if anybody out there doesn't know what we're talking about, check out YouTube.
I hear the secrets that you keep.
It's really good. That was one of the first songs that I listened to of your band. That I listened to like on a regular basis. I had a rip of it in my car on a USB stick.
YouTubed MP3.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know, just these connections with people that have done it have made me like, it's like to see how modest and see how down to earth they are with people that are working as musicians or trying to work as it. It makes me want to do better, continue on it, and it's scary, man. It's so scary. It's like, I don't know. I don't have any backup. Like, I know I can go back to sheet metal, but man, I can't go back to sheet metal.
So it's all about diversity at this point. You got the future dates coming with Chaos.
Yeah.
So
in December, so stay tuned for that.
And you have the album with Ashley MacIsaac that you guys are still working on.
Yep.
So I imagine that's a 2025 release.
Yeah, I think he's looking to do it in the summer.
And then a number of singles that you're planning, and I know you can't talk about many outside of Vampire State of Mind at this point, so maybe we'll leave that one alone.
Got some cool collaborations with a lot of my favorite artists I've worked with over the years. And that whole Deja Vu title, all these singles are going to be put on an album called Deja Vu. It's just, it feels like I did this before. Yeah, because you recorded 10 times a demo and never released it.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing with musicians doubting themselves the whole time because maybe someone didn't listen when you showed them a song. And that's another tip for people watching. If someone's like, I got to show you something, just listen to them. You're going to know a little bit more about them at the end of the day. It's like, all right, so maybe you don't have the 30 seconds to pay attention, but go home later on and be like, okay, this is what they're trying to show me. Obviously, they wanted to tell me something or something that I was interested in. They're not just going to say it randomly. I find too many people just brush it off now because there's so much information overload. Mm-hmm. But that's a big reason for, I think, musicians doubting themselves is because no one will listen. In a sense.
Yeah. So now you've kind of laid a few hints because I know some inside stuff, which is why I keep referencing notes so I don't end up just telling you what you're up to.
Fair.
For Giantstock in 2025.
Yeah.
It's still a little early, but as we all know, especially those of us that follow things at this level, music festivals plan well in advance.
Right.
So what can you share with people now? I know some of the tentative plans, but what is shareable to the public at this point?
Okay, so I've been talking so far about wrestling and 90s country.
That's it? There's your
So
pitch right there.
There's the big hints right there. We're bringing wrestling to Giantstock this year because why not? We're going to make the Friday night all ages. You bet it's going to be all ages. Because, like, kids should have entertainment.
That'll be amazing.
It's got to start that young and then, roll into music right after the wrestling. Then do the Saturday, your original show showcasing everybody. Then Sunday, a big 90s country tribute that night. And throughout the day, it'll be more of the bluegrass acts, country acts. Might be doing some country pride there.
I'm going to cross my fingers.
That's all I can say now, but it's well underway, the planning.
And so for Giantstock, I do know that one thing that actually, I don't know if you and I had a conversation about this personally.
No.
But feedback that I received from other people that have attended the first 2 years, besides the fact that there was massive growth in between the two events, the community involvement or the events that you have through the day that form a sense of community within the attendees over the weekend, a lot of people don't even realize like the Friday night doesn't have a list of bands that are playing.
Exactly.
It's set up night, but there's a bunch of people there that are playing. They're sitting around the campfire. They're getting all their sites set up. And day one, everyone's got friends.
Yeah.
So you've somehow managed to bottle what every festival's trying to do. But what are you planning for next year to kind of further expand that? I know you've had games through the day.
Yeah.
There's a beach on site.
So this year's like, we have the same thing. The Friday night is going to have wrestling this time, and there's going to be one or two bands, but we got to go do that bonfire thing. I think that's one of the best, bring everybody around a fire, light up their emotions, light up the faces so you can see everybody right to where your partying days started, sneaking down to the beach. You snagged your mom's, a little bottle out of your mom's pint, put it in a water bottle. It's like, okay, everybody grabbed a little bit from their folks' house, stole your uncle's beer, whatever. That's what it's like. It's about just the beginnings and bringing that youthful feeling back. Some people feel like they can't do that anymore. Because like, no, I'm too old. I can't be sleeping in a tent. It's like, just do it, man. Life's too short. What if you don't wake up tomorrow? Go sleep in the tent. Go be silly for a bit.
I'm one of those people, but you bully me into going, and then I have a good time. So.
And that's 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, it just takes a little bit of coaxing. Like,
absolutely.
It's like people are just so reserved in they're just used to their daily routines. But if you get a little bit out of your comfort zone, you'll find that you might be more comfortable in new settings. Like your comfort zone might not be actually comfortable. It might just be restrictive.
And so now we've talked a lot about how busy you were in 2024, and you've already alluded to the fact that you might like to dial back a little bit on the constant 5 shows a week or more sometimes. I know I have a couple nights I've done double duties with you.
Double duty this summer was
did
fun.
More than one town. They're fun trips, absolutely, but exhausting.
Drinks.
It's lots of energy drinks for sure.
Like 5 or 6 hours of singing within a matter of 5 or 6 hours because I don't generally take a break. Sometimes I'll wake up the next day and it's like, man, I have no tone left in my ears.
Yeah.
It's like your throat's kind of raw and you don't want to talk for like half of the day the next day because your head's just like, whoa. It's kind of like an explosion, like a quick explosion or running a marathon, probably about the same.
And how do you pace that out then? Because I do know that you perform enough that I have noticed times where the next day you do have a little bit of strain in your vocals, or you have a little bit of you knowledge your ear, you get a little bit of headaches going.
Yeah, man.
So do you typically schedule time through your days that you're doing your downtime activities through the day so that you can rest up for the evening performances?
Most times I try not to talk from like when I wake up to like an hour or two before the show if I feel any strain. If I'm feeling good, I just let it ride because I'm like, I'm not going to get tired talking normally. So if it's a bad day, I just try and limit my, I guess, my chatting, my extra usage of any energy. Some days you have to just literally just be tired, sleep, nap, It's the Beetlejuice thing where it's like, oh, I don't want to do anything today, and then it's showtime, you know? Sometimes you got to put on that face. Not every show is going to be fun. Not every gig is going to be rewarding. But at the end of the day, it's my job.
Yeah.
And I have to give the crowd, give the people that came to support me the same show, no matter if there's 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. If they're taking the time to come see me or support me, it's like, you deserve the best. And I'll try to give it to you. Even if I don't have a voice, I'll find a way to make it work. I'll get it out of me somehow. And that's the entertainment value of it all. It's like, how do I make this work with what I got right now? And it's the same DIY approach that I use with the bands. How do we make this work with what we got? And being resourceful is the key to the longevity in this industry. I don't have $50,000 to put it behind a single, but I want people to hear my music. And if something strikes a chord with someone, cool. If it doesn't, I got that music out of my head into some new listeners, maybe people that haven't heard me before. It's like, okay, there's one new fan. That's great. Better than yesterday. And it never hurt anything, you know?
And so you definitely have a few different things that you're working on in the background that you can kind of fall back on if you do dial back a little bit on the solo performances. But what can we expect next from the Giants?
So we are working on, we've got like a bunch of new tunes that we started working on last week. So I think we're going to do a lot of the same stuff when I'm doing my solo stuff. Record a single, play select shows throughout the year. We had a really cool interaction at ECMA last year for a festival that's going to happen in August. So we get to confirm that later. And it's a spot we haven't been before. So we're just trying to see new places we haven't been. We dial back on the shows quite a bit. Like it was like, guys, we can't just keep losing money on shows touring. Like we toured Canada twice under control tours. Like we have to push it. We have to hit the road because that's the way bands do it. And then we kind of had to take a little step back to see, okay, which stuff is working, what isn't working. And I think this year was one of our most successful years and probably the least we've played, which is super strange.
The renewed focus definitely led to some of the biggest shows I think you've ever had.
Instead of running aimlessly, it's like, okay, take the blindfold off. Let's just see what worked. Like we just knew that we're a live band, so that's why we did so many shows. That's why we played. But it's like we can't keep playing the same markets. We got to see what's the next step in the growth. And having these songs that we're working on, it's, again, another slightly different direction for the Giants. Again, this is the same kind of Southern power pop, Grease Coast rock and roll thing, but we're giving more new elements of, you know, just talking about more what's inside and stuff we've been through. It's not all just good, positive energy.
Yeah.
It's about being stomped down and, you know, having to build yourself back up.
So going back to Vampire State of Mind, the single, I know a little bit more about this as well. We were out just the night before this recording with your brother again, and my daughter Dakota, who's
music supervisor on the site.
She's definitely got a little bit of a resume going, even if she doesn't realize it. She's done a few of these episodes, and she's been in a few music videos. Now. So actually, one quick little thing off to the side. Anyone that maybe would notice little tiny things. You don't know about this. This is from the first music video I did with you. So this is from cool. The definition of a dweeb video when Mark smashes the meter stick.
That's dope.
And this is from Morgan Toney smashing his fiddle.
What a rock star. What a rock star. I love that he did that.
It's like the little museum of Andre behind us here.
Historical events.
But aside from that, last night I did not grab a souvenir, but we were working. It was a new music video.
Yeah.
So I will find a souvenir. I might have to steal your jacket. Oh. So I don't know.
It's a purple trench coat, and it's amazing.
If you can't find it, you know where to look for it.
I got it at Value Village in Calgary on my last tour with Chaos. It was all I could do to fit it in my suitcase. I traveled with a travel bag like that with my luggage for a week because I had to bring my guitar and my pedal board. So to save money, I'm like, okay, I'll pack a little bit of clothes. I had 4 sleeveless shirts, 3 pairs of black skinnies, underwear, and I traveled with 1 pair of socks and just bought new socks so I could just throw them out. It's like, I don't have room. I had to bring toothbrush and toothpaste, the little one. So I like rolled everything up super tight so I could wear the jacket back. I wasn't going to wear 3 jackets on the plane.
Yeah.
So I brought a jacket and a sweater with me so I could have it. But literally, I travel so lightly. Same with the band when we're on tour. It's like, boys, this van is stuffed to the gills. Bring a little bag. And the guys kind of get mad if someone brings anything bigger.
So I am expecting to see that jacket again in the future, but it did fit also that same look of the...
Yeah, I think I might wear it at most of these shows. I don't know, I really like the purple jacket.
Actually, the timing of it fits. You could pull that off, so we will all be looking for the purple jacket to make an appearance in future dates.
I think so. I think like maybe put a little one patch on the arm. He's like, I can't be fully just naked. It's kind of like, I need
to leave the sleeves on.
Yeah, that was tough. I don't know. It's a fun piece. Most of my clothing is from Value Village, except I paid like $100 for this shirt because I loved it.
I think we have to get some... I know somebody that can make patches now, so I think we need one that says the boom at noon, and the other one says East Coast DNA.
I'll get you trench coat ones.
There you go. We'll
okay, you guys need new trench coats.
We'll all get matching
trench coats.
Amazing.
We're going in the trenches together. We're in this industry. We're working. We got it.
So the music video itself, for anyone that's wondering what we're talking about, it falls into exactly what you're saying about having fun.
Yeah,
it's definitely
being silly.
It's a silly, fun video with a little bit of spooky elements to it for that Halloween motif.
Yeah.
But for anyone that is listening to this and thinking, well, I'm just finding out about this single now and the music video now, and Halloween's right around the corner, you also are contributing a little bit extra to the mix with a B-side to accompany the single?
Yeah, so I'm releasing a B-side on the 28th. The Doors' People Are Strange, one of my all-time favorite songs, and it's also in the Lost Boys movie. And when I was getting inspiration for this single, for the whole image thing, I'm like, you know what? B-side would be a cool thing to do. They used to do that back in the 70s when, they'd do a single release, and there's their B-side on their 45. So I had the idea. I called my brother. I'm like, dude, I'm going to record People Are Strange. I was at the gym, I think, with you in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get like a That's So Raven, like light bulb moment. And then nothing else matters. I was like, I finished my workout. I ran faster so that I could finish it early. Went home, learned the song, recorded it. And I'm like, Travis, come up. We'll do the drums and bass together. He's like, okay, I'll learn the bass. And then I kind of he learned the bass notes of the drums. And then we just kind of pick at it as we go. It's like, okay, what if you did this? Take off on this. Let's go for this tone. So working with him is super cool. We both know how the song should sound. And I think we did a fun ode to the actual original song, but added our own little element to it. I stepped up a little bit vocally, how I normally do later in the song, but I still gave that kind of, People Are Strange, a quirky Jim Morrison. I don't know if he was going for what he's going for there, but it's kind of spooky and quirky all in the same manner.
And so now you've mentioned Travis several times because he's been collaborating with you on these as far as mixing and the other end. Will you be returning the favor? Because he also just released a single. He's had 2 now, if anyone wants to go out and look for them. But is there any talks about the 2 of you collaborating outside of your own solo singles?
We're doing a double single together. So we're going to release a song together called, in brackets, Don't Kill My Heart. And it's like a 50s doo-wop meets Weezer. So I think that might be the next single for December. That's what I'm pushing towards. I've been playing it a lot live lately.
I was going to say, people
caught on.
People in Truro and the Glasgow and most of Cape Breton.
Yeah, everybody caught on.
They would know the song already.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that one works. It's a stupid easy chorus. And it's just fun and kind of portraying that silliness, the funness, the entertainment, that kind of larger than life wrestling thing I want to go for.
Pop rock Weezer kind of tune kind of falls back with Travis having a strong Beatles influence as well.
Man.
So
yeah, like when we were recording this song, we had just the normal chords for it, and then I'm like, what if I do like a Buddy Holly style, like off time, almost reggae, but not reggae. So I was like, okay, no, that's doo-wop. And then once that hit, it's like, oh, okay, we're going totally that direction. It started as like a 21 Pilots style song.
Yeah, I can see that.
Originally, he was like, let's go fully electronic on it. And then that hit. I'm like, man, let's go for it. And that's the joys of recording. That's the joys of not putting a time on anything. It's just have fun with it, man. We know what sounds good. Trust your ears, trust your judgment, and if nobody likes it, we at least satisfied our inner cravings for musical nonsense.
Amazing. Now, so we've listed off a lot of things for people to look out for. There will be a Giantstock in 2025 that's going to be an even bigger event somehow.
I wonder if somebody wants to help me name it. I didn't name it yet.
But you should maybe, let's follow up
put up a
conversation afterwards. We should maybe with the release of this content too, between two media networks and your own, we can come up with some type of contest for the fans to write in.
100%.
I think that's a good one.
I like it.
We'll pull some strings after this.
I like it.
So outside of that, you've got the Chaos dates that are coming up on the East Coast.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to try to grab him while he's down here this time. And actually, he was a great guy to talk to when he was down last time. I'll have to get him on camera for a little bit too, because I have a few questions for him.
We've got a day or two planned off, and we might be hitting the studio together.
Well, there you go. I'll have to definitely be keeping my ear to the ground on that one.
So, we'll do some fun stuff in December.
So lots more coming from there. Lots of solo gigs to come up, but maybe a few other surprise things, as you mentioned, some collaborations and
some fun Giants shows that are coming in late December as well. We're going to be announcing some holiday shows.
Perfect.
We're breaking a tradition to maybe do something, a little bit of a collaboration with a festival we worked with in September. So that's going to be announced soon. I got a call in the morning to confirm details, but Tipsy Eve is going to be a ripper this year as well.
I'm liking it. So save a few vacation dates around the holidays. Save a few bucks in your pocket to buy some merch at these shows, and keep an eye out on Spotify on multiple accounts now, because you have your own solo stuff out there. And I'd suggest everybody's following Chaos and Travis as well, because 100%. You're going to be popping up on those. And why wouldn't you be already following those guys?
Travis is hilarious. If anybody doesn't know my brother Travis, dude is 100% himself. Authentically Travis. Silly, dry. He shows up on stage wearing Daisy Dukes. He wore a bingo crew neck. Literally bingo, like this, but white and bingo, and his shorts were like up to here. And I don't know what he's going to dress up as next for each show. And the funny thing of it, when we were younger, he was never like that. He was so scared to even go and order a coffee for Mom at Tim Hortons. So to see him being more hilarious and, just being like, whatever. He showed up dressed as the Big Show the other night at a private house show we played. So he had one boob out. He had his spandex shorts on. I'm looking beside him. I'm like, this is hilarious. I think more people have to just be silly and just be the younger version of themselves that we lost along the way during our 20s.
Well, I've seen the influence of YouTube being like that and having a renewed amount of time together lately with the collaborations. You have kind of the energy has increased over the last few months, and I see it rubbing off on the rest of the band as well. Yeah, man. John's been really stepping up his game. It could be the Oasis reunion that's really pushing John. I think it's definitely part of it. He's thinking that maybe he could open for them, or maybe they need an extra guitarist or something.
Yeah, he even got me listening to Oasis.
That's amazing.
It took me a long time to listen to Oasis because it was two brothers that hated each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't stand beside that because, man, if I didn't like my brother, like, man, I wouldn't have been playing music. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know, that brother thing, just wipe off all the drama. Like, you have one brother, make it work.
So you listen to them as long as they get along.
100%. Now I listen to actually Chaos. Kevin put it on out in Calgary. He's like, can we crank up some Oasis? I'm like, usually I'd say no, but we cranked Oasis, and I texted John. I'm like, you'd be proud of me right now. Listen to Oasis. And he's like, told you. I was like,
that might be why they got back together, because of you and Kevin.
It was.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
We'll definitely give you guys credit. And Mark himself has been busy. We recently had an episode just leading up to Giantstock where he's been
flat
doing
out
some other collaborations, a lot of death stuff down at Shoebox.
Working with some multiple artists. So he's doing a lot of cool things. And this all comes back to the Giants being a bigger version of themselves, larger than life. Yeah. You know what I mean? If everybody's working on themselves on our time, that we're not gigging as much, we come into rehearsals playing better. Like, even though we're not playing as much live, the boys know the switches. We know our technicality stuff is better, and everybody's just a better version of themselves with a little less stress on their plate.
So I'll be really excited to see what that's going to lead to in 2025 from the band directly.
100%, man.
And I'm going to recommend that everyone go out there, follow all of those accounts, the band accounts, check out that new music video that should be out now, and keep an eye out for the B-side if you haven't already heard it.
100%.
And so for today, I will play off and give people a taste of the Vampire State of Mind.
Let's do it.
Great. And thanks again for coming, and thanks again for recording.
Thanks to the boomers at Nooners. We should do this again like a boomerang.
Absolutely.
See you again.
I was thirsting for more, like a moth to a flame.